Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Adeptus On-Air. I am your host, Mike Hoffman, and super excited today to be joined by Shirah Benarde. Shirah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very good. Want to start off in saying I am a fan of Shark Tank, and when I heard you were coming on, I actually totally remembered your episode because kind of like what Lori said, and we'll get to what it is in a minute, totally thought when you see it, that's like needed, and that's like super cool. So just right off the bat, total props to you for what you've done. So let me just read a little bio. At such a young age, you discovered and developed and everything your company called NightCap. And I'll let you explain what it is, but it was featured on Shark Tank in 21, resulting in a deal with Lori Greiner. You launched it, I believe, at age 16 after a close friend had her drink spiked at a party, and you said that can't continue, and you kind of went on a mission to do your best to minimize, if not eliminate, that altogether. Did I get that right?
You got that right. So I was 16 at the time, and I had a friend that was roofied, an older college friend, and a few weeks later, went to bed one night, thought of a life-saving invention in a dream when I was sleeping. And then the next morning I woke up and created what NightCap is out of my mom's stockings and a scrunchie for my room. Yeah. So I don't know if people can see this, but I'll kind of explain what it is. It's a scrunchie. You can wear it on your wrist or in your hair. And then when you go out to the bar, you pull out this little cover here, and the cover goes over your drink so nobody can tamper with your beverage. There's a little straw hole for your straw, and the point of it is not only to protect yourself, but it's also a deterrent. So it tells the bad actor not to mess with you, and sends a signal to people at the bar, hey, I'm aware of this problem. That's the NightCap scrunchie, though. And then, it's been 5 years and we've created a whole product line of things that.
Yeah, I looked on your website today because obviously I'd only heard of this one product of yours, quite honestly, from Shark Tank. But I saw the sticker pack and I saw the buzzer and, all that kind of stuff. And it's amazing how you've kind of expanded that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, you have to, because you can't. I mean, you can only have one product for so long. I think also with what we're trying to do, like there's people who don't want to wear a scrunchie, and there's different kinds of drinks that don't make sense for that. So we had to kind of think about who are our customers, what are they drinking, and how can we protect them. So we came out with like beer bottle tops and keychain versions for people who aren't like down to use a scrunchie, or can cooler covers for seltzers and things like that. And then our stop tops are the stickers you mentioned. That's kind of more of a way to use a product like NightCap, but make it disposable, and then also be able to like sell to people in bulk because they're such cheap items, like they're stickers. So
So what do you find is the biggest challenge or deterrent for, and again, I'm sure it's for both sexes, but I think it's predominantly your market's probably, young women. So what is the deterrent that you find out there that, why isn't everyone using this? Because as a father of, a daughter in college now, one who just graduated, to me, it's such a no-brainer, quite honestly. So obviously not every kid has one of these. So is it because they all don't know about it? Is it because they don't want to stand out? Like, what have you come across? I'm sure you've studied the market, and what are you finding as your biggest roadblocks?
Oh, that's a good question. I think an interesting comment that I've discovered is people knowing what the product is, but not knowing where they can get them, which is super interesting. Like I've seen people come up to me or like, comment on our videos and being like, oh my God, I've always wanted one of these. Like, I don't know where to get one. And I'm just like, well, we do have the internet. No, I think,
Exactly.
I think maybe they'll see their college campus handing them out, and maybe they were the odd one out that didn't get one, and they kind of assume, oh, we'll just, maybe we'll get some next semester. So I don't know. It's easy. Like, we can all have a website and Amazon. I think it's accessible. We're in Forever 21, all the things. If people don't have access to the internet, we're in Forever 21.
Anyone in the age market that you're going to has access to the market. The internet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But so we, I think it's also like we're new and like we're only 5 years old, and it took us a really long time to create credibility and show people that we're real. And it's definitely hard to get behind something at first that you didn't know you needed before.
Yeah.
But we do find that a lot of people, unfortunately, use the product after something has happened to them.
Yeah.
So, we try to spread a lot of awareness about, this is like wearing your seatbelt or locking your door. We don't want to.
You never want to say, the perfect world is to say, I quote unquote wasted my money on it, I didn't need it, because you were safe and nothing happened to you, which is a perfect thing.
Yeah.
It's like you have a house alarm, you pay a monthly fee. Well, hopefully you never had it go off, but you had that peace of mind and safety, but it was obviously money well spent.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like having insurance.
Yeah. No, exactly right. So you mentioned that you made a comment before about some schools hand it out. So how is that? Do you like have contracts with certain colleges and so forth, and they're buying in bulk to give out to incoming freshmen or something like that?
So it's all different kinds of things. A lot of the colleges will just come to us, and it's either the health centers, campus police, Title IX. It could be literally all three of those at the same school. So it's all different organizations at these universities that want the product. And they will come to us. They'll either get them how they are, like with our logo on them, or they'll get them with like, Penn State logo or something like that.
Oh, I like how you threw in Penn State there. Very good.
So they'll throw a logo on it. They can throw hotlines, whatever it is, we can do. And then, they buy them like 500 to a couple thousand at a time. And then they'll hand them out to students. And, like welcome week and stuff is big. Yeah. And so I think that's a big one. I think like when we started, we were like, this is a no-brainer for students. We want these in all freshman year orientation bags. Yeah. And it's just like the best. The universities are our number one customer. So it's been very, very lovely working with them.
I think that's awesome. And the great thing about that for you is every year there's new freshmen. So it's not just it's not like you go to Penn State or another school one time and that's it. Well, every year, guess what? 10,000 new kids and then 10,000 new kids. So once they see the value of it, you like have a returning client every year, which is wonderful. Similar to what we have. I do your tax return. I do a good job. I have you back next year to do your tax return, and I have you back the year after. So you just provide quality products, which yours are clearly quality, and they're going to hopefully keep coming back.
Yeah, and then it's like word of mouth, and people at the universities talk, and then it just expands. And I think we're at about 170, 180 universities now, but it's just kind of starting because, there's thousands of them out there. So you never know the potential of whose hands it could get into. And the goal for us is to make sure that students are safe on and off campus. So the ways that the universities are giving them this access to like the safety tools, it helps us, it helps our job, and knowing that like we are, we don't have to work as hard because they can kind of help us with the with getting them, the safety tools that they need.
And I love the disposable one. Like I didn't know about that one, full disclosure, until I looked at your website this morning. I love that one because that's something you just keep it in your purse or whatever you kind of travel with, and you always have it there, as opposed to I forgot to bring my scrunchie. So you can always have one, folded over somewhere, that kind of thing. And you're in a situation where you don't think you're going to be in, but you're in a situation where you just don't feel comfortable in the environment, whether it's a new bar or in a frat house, and you just get that vibe. And not that you shouldn't always be using it, but it's nice you can just last second just kind of pull it out and use it.
It's super easy to use. It's literally just a sticker. You take it out with you, pop it on your drink. It's like if you were to think of like a boba lid, it's kind of like that. That's what people refer to it as.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just throw it on your drink. It's so easy. It's like, it's great for if you're at a music festival or a party, just like very quick, easy. You don't have to worry about bringing your scrunchie home with you. It's like you drink your drink, you throw it out, and then you can use another one. And that's great for selling to different venues because we can put QR codes on those and, customize their QR code, maybe put a menu on it, or like scan for 10% off your ride home or your next ticket. It's like the possibilities are kind of endless for us there.
See, you can tell you've been doing this now a little while because I love how your mind works, because in addition to the product, you're also thinking of ways how we can use the product and take all these branches off of it and to make you guys more profitable, which is obviously, let's face it, one of your main objectives besides what you want to do to protect people. But now you can leverage possibly other services that keep people safe. A QR code for a safe ride home, or for a prevention line or something like that, which even adds more value to an extremely valuable.
Right. I think when we started the company, we were like, it's so obvious for these venues to want to keep people safe.
Yeah.
But I think we realized pretty quickly that a lot of these, majority of bars and majority of festivals actually don't care at all about safety. So I think it was our turn to kind of pivot and be like, how do we get them to care? And so we did that by those things that I was saying before, like where can we provide value for them? And like, if they're not going to care about their customers' safety, then how can we get them to want this and like get them to give these out? And so like thinking of different ways, like, putting a menu on your drink is like, that's us kind of pivoting and following what they.
But even what's nice about your product in terms of, and you make a good point, a lot of establishments want to make money. They don't care necessarily about the safety, which is sad. But your product, even if you don't put their stuff on it, doesn't hinder them in any way. Meaning, I'm still going to buy whatever drinks I'm going to have. I'm just covering it to keep myself safe. It's not like your product is something that's going to say, hey, I'm going to get a buzz in my ear when I've had more than 3 drinks, so I don't buy anymore, which has a detriment to someone who's trying to sell you excessive alcohol. Yours isn't stopping anyone from drinking less. It's just them being smarter to know they're as safe as they can be with what they're consuming.
A lot of these bars have kind of taken the narrative and, twisted it as, if we have these at our bar, people are going to think there's a problem and they're not going to come.
Okay, that's fair.
In reality, it's the opposite. If you have them at your bar, people are going to feel safer and they're going to want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I would appreciate, as a father, a place that offers to give these out.
Yes.
I understand their thinking, but I think when they think it through all the way, I agree with you that I'd want my daughter to know when she walks in, hey, would you like one of these?
Right, for sure. And hopefully we can get your daughter one after this.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I think whether you do or don't, I think she'll be getting one anyway, because like I said, I love everything about it. So let's take a step back a little bit, because I think the entire Shark Tank thing now, from an entertainment standpoint, love the show, obviously. And I think you got the one person who I think was, and I'm sure we'll speak to in a second, who to me really gets behind the people she works with, Lori. And, so I think you lucked out there. But one thing I've always wondered about the show itself. So obviously you watch your clip when you're on, and you're on TV for maybe 7-8 minutes. How long are you actually in the tank going back and forth with them? So
ours was actually one of the fastest deals ever. So we were only in there for about 30 minutes. I think it was 32 minutes specifically. A lot of our friends and people that we know have been in there for, it can vary from 1 to 3 hours.
Wow.
So we finished the show. We finished, talking to them. We got our deal, and we were like, is that it? Because when you're in there, your adrenaline's going. And so you think everything happened way faster. We thought we were in there for like 4 or 5 minutes. We were like,
sure.
Did they ask us anything? Like,
can
we give them any more information?
Yeah.
So we were a little panicked that they didn't have enough content for the episode. But they cut it down about 7 or 8 minutes. And at the time I was 17, my brother was 21. and we're still co-founders today, but we went in there, we quarantined in a hotel for 10 days because it was during COVID. And
yes, I noticed that because I noticed at the end she didn't come up and hug you afterwards. So I noticed that.
Yes. So that was a thing for season 12. You couldn't like touch anyone.
Sure.
And so we went in there and we did our pitch and everyone was pretty much like, she jumped in and everyone was like, this is her thing.
Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of that they didn't air. Like I know Mr. Wonderful made an offer, like a kind of like a joking one. He was like, I want 50%.
Right.
We were like, of course not. And then, they just kind of cut it all out. But Lori was who we wanted. Everyone supported that. They were like, this is her thing. Take her deal,
So the edit at the end of the day, a fair representation of your 35 minutes cut down to 6? Was it a fair depiction?
It's such a good question, but like you really black out and forget everything I don't even know, but I think, they made us look great. Like they didn't put any crazy spin on it. Like I feel that in TV you totally could. I think it was best case scenario. And, we gave it our best. We practiced a lot. We went in there, we knew what we wanted, and then, we got it. So, yeah.
So when you leave the tank, do you then have a conversation again with Lori? Like, does she step out of the room off camera and at least talk to you for a few minutes because she's your new partner? Or do you just like go and the next person comes in?
You have a conversation. Yes, you have a conversation. And then, you kind of talk like, what's the timeline here? What can we expect? And then we closed our deal like a couple months after the show aired. The show was filmed. Yeah. And that was it. Like it was just kind of, it worked out. And she's still our partner today. She's got 25%. She got the deal was 25% for $60,000. At the time we had $68,000 in sales. So as you can see, it makes sense.
and just to show the growth, and don't speak about anything you're not comfortable speaking about. Like what were your sales, your most recent figures?
Yeah, we're very open with our revenue. Our sales, we've done $7 million like today. To this day, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all from an unfortunate thing that happened to a friend of yours. So turning a negative, and hopefully your friend is okay with, from what had happened, but turning a negative into a super positive, not only for yourself, but, for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, for sure. We've sold over 700,000 units. So it's been crazy to just hear the feedback from people. And when you're out with the NightCap, people come up to you and they actually know the name of the product. That's when I started to be like, wow, this is really interesting how people are actually know. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, oh, is that a NightCap? And I'm like, the actual name. I feel like that's success.
Right.
Like,
instead of saying, oh, I have that thing over my drink. Yeah, exactly.
It used to be just like the scrunchie thing, and now they know the name, and that's just great for us. Like I think it's so cool to sit down in your kitchen, come up with a prototype, and then you have people at the bar like knowing the name. But it's just cool to hear the feedback of people, people who use it, or like people who have had a traumatic experience and can't leave the house without it. All the feedback is great.
So one of the things you showed, or at least they showed on the edit, is you held up, I believe, some samples or some of your prototypes.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of talk a little bit about the evolution, because obviously you said you went into your mom's closet, you grabbed some supplies and went with it. So obviously your first one was just this is an idea.
Yeah.
What was the process to get it to the final? And we'll stick to your original product, the one that you actually presented on the show. So what was the evolution? Because let's face it, you were a high school kid at the time. I don't know what your interests were, but I don't think your interests were necessarily in product design per se. So what was the process from prototype 1 to 2 to 3 to 4? Did you have to bring in professionals to help you, or kind of walk through that? Because that's fascinating to me. They had so many different steps.
Yeah, so immediately when I created the prototype out of my mom's stockings and an old scrunchie, I sat down with my dad, and he kind of was like, okay, let me find someone in the area. We'll call some people around. Meanwhile, I'm 16. I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And he calls a friend of a friend, and they end up connecting us to a seamstress. So she starts working with us to, she comes over, sits down with us. She's like, what is this? What do you want? And we kind of explain it to her. So from that prototype, we created another prototype, and she made it out of like textbook cover and like.
I know what you're talking about. Those new textbook covers. It's like that pull stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like stretchy fabric. She made about 4 or 5 prototypes, and she would come over every other week and be like, okay, this is what I have this week. We would maybe like fidget with it, see how we wanted it differently. It was made out of textbook covers, like gymnastics leotards, socks, different stockings, and all the prototypes were like rainbow and just different random designs and colors that made no sense, because obviously it was just about the functionality. And she made it like how this connects from the scrunchie to the drink cover. It's like, how are we supposed to connect it? Are we supposed to put a string, or like she was just kind of finding ways, and how exactly do you make something like this? Because it's just, I don't know what I'm doing. So
she had to make one, but you're hoping to make thousands. Yeah.
Right. So she, got us to where we wanted it to be. And then once we got that final, 5th prototype, my brother was around. He came home from Florida State, and he was like, this is actually a huge problem on my college campus. I'm going to help you with this. So he started calling manufacturers, and when we found one in Dallas, we sent them the prototype. They started making them, and that's when we started our first batch of nightcaps. And we started an Indiegogo campaign for pre-orders, because we weren't selling immediately, so we were sending it to friends and family, and they were ordering so we could have the money to actually buy the inventory.
So your price point, at least what you saw on the show, and I'm sure your cost to make now, I'm sure, has gone down just because of efficiencies. So your price point, I think initially was about $8 or $9, I believe, more than what your cost was, which is a wonderful margin.
Yes.
Did you play around with what your price point was? Because when you got on the show, I think you said you had 60,000 of sales. So you had a little bit of a idea what the market would take, but not a huge, so did you have to play around with that price point to find the sweet spot?
For sure, yeah. We definitely got our costs down a little bit since the show. And, when you're ordering 50,000 of these things at a time, you can kind of get some deals going.
Yeah, sure.
But, we still want good quality products. We never want to sacrifice that. I think it's that's number one. I think we've experienced things where, we come out with a product and we're so eager to get it on the website or get it on the market that we don't take the time. In the past, we have done this where we haven't taken the time to perfect it. And I think over the years, we've realized, no, quality is first. That's our main priority. We want the product to work. We want it to make sense. We don't just care about what's the cheapest nightcap we can make. That's not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right. You definitely don't want to, reflect a negative quality, but you also want to produce it as, as cheap as possible.
Sure.
Why not? So if you find the product, so obviously a lot of people have said, just having the exposure from Shark Tank is enough. Obviously, the fact that I saw it and other people, see it. But now that you leave with a deal and you have this shark in your corner, besides the cash infusion, what are a few of the biggest things that she's added to help this business grow?
Yeah, she originally helped us a lot with branding, and she taught me a lot about how important it is for something to be so simple, for people to read. I think she helped us with our packaging. And I think her knowledge of just kind of being listen, if somebody sees your product, they need to know what it is in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was initially what she kind of helped us with, is like, how do we take this packaging and tell people exactly what it is, just by looking at it. So we also changed some colors around. She's very good at like what catches the eye. So that was a big one. And then obviously like they're great mentors, and or she's a great mentor, her team too. And yeah, we check in with them all the time to just kind of let them know where we're at.
How often do you speak to her, or now is it really her team? Do you still talk to her time to time?
From time to time, yeah.
Yeah. If you needed to reach her, you'd go through her team kind of thing, and would she be available if you needed to?
Yeah, I mean, I could call her on my cell phone right now. I'm just kidding. I could reach her. I could reach her through her. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think that's the key, is what she's actually, what you've learned, from her. And it sounds like she was actually a mentor to you, not just a business partner. So I think she wanted, because I'm sure her team could have just taken this thing over and help blow it up like you did. But obviously it's your baby. You wanted to take it. And, I think her guidance was key. Was your stuff ever on QVC?
No, actually, no. We were in talks with QVC. I think maybe in the future it'll work. They actually book up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we weren't on QVC, but hopefully in the future, maybe next year, we will think about something like that.
Yeah. So you had mentioned, obviously online, I think you mentioned Forever 21. What other brick and mortar stores are you in, or is it mostly internet based?
So we're only in Forever 21. Boutiques here and there, university bookstores and stuff like that. Forever 21's our biggest retailer. And I don't know if you know the story of Forever 21, but I met the CEO at a retail conference, and I walked up to her and I was like, "Hey, you did a great job up there. Here's NightCap." She immediately loved it. I told her like our story and everything. And she said, "I have a 13-year-old daughter. Let's get this in the stores." And now we're in all 400 stores. Wow. And she is just great. I love her.
Yeah. So I think what you just said, and I have a lot of clients obviously who manufacture things, and, they can manufacture whatever they manufacture, but your product, if you're talking to the right person, parents, college girls, people who know someone who had this experience, your product will just resonate. So someone who talks to you about your product for 2 minutes, you don't have to sell it. Your product itself, in my opinion, sells itself, which is the biggest compliment you could give to your company and your product is, hey, protect your daughter, protect your friend, done, and you're doing it at a reasonable cost, because I honestly believe you could probably sell a lot of these at a higher cost. I mean, not higher cost, at a higher sales price. You probably could, because someone who really wants it's going to really want it. And if you made it instead of 11, 15, they probably would. But I'm sure part of what you're doing is also to make it more readily available to people. So I think I can tell you're passionate about protecting people just from talking to you for 25 minutes now. So I have a feeling your model is to make as much as you can, but at the same time, make it affordable so I can get this to everyone who wants it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't even think we've raised the price since we started the company. Like, I think our Indiegogo was like $9.99, just because, like, Indiegogo, it's pre-orders, and then I think now it's like $11.99. So it's not.
It's funny. I noticed that this morning because I watched the clip just before I came on with you, just to refresh myself, and I think the price you said on there matched what I saw on your website.
Yeah. So
that tells you something about your guys' mindset, and I can't tell you how much I admire it. Is, as you're growing, usually when things become more popular, the price goes up with it. Yeah. And the fact that you're willing to keep it stable, and, obviously you're doing well as a business, but I think that's how you're able to get it out there. I think that's just brilliant job.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, Michael and I, my brother and I, are the founders. And like, I think with us, it's like our main priority genuinely is to help people. And so, when you start raising the cost and everything, it's like where your customers are just going to resent you, honestly. And it's not worth it for us. Like, we don't want that. We are trying to build something bigger than like just a cash flow business. Like, we really want to create like community and just good products. And I don't think it's just never been a priority for us to be like, let's raise it again and again and again. So we're trying to build a brand that people trust and not one that people can't afford.
So when you were on the tank, it was just you and your brother. How many, do you have other employees now?
Not really, no. I mean, like, no, we don't. It's really just the two of us, and then we kind of outsource everything else. Yes. So we don't touch the products. That's done somewhere else. And then we are just focused on marketing, sales, and operations. Yeah. That is it.
That's the stuff that you should be focusing on. And you have the right people handling your production, your distribution, your website, your orders, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the key to any of this. And this is kind of what we talk to people, our clients, a lot, is just getting the right team around you and figuring out what works. And for you, the outsourcing model, definitely seems to make, the most sense.
Yeah, it's for sure. And I mean, I guess we haven't had the need to hire employees. I'm sure one day we will. I mean, I hope so, because that's when you're getting big.
That's correct.
We kind of just wear a lot of hats.
So what is and if you can't be specific, you can't be specific. Do you have any other products in mind that obviously haven't come to market yet that you're testing or you're working at right now?
We just launched our latest product is a handy bottle top. So it's like, I don't know if you've ever gone to these music festivals and seen people wearing they bring these little hands and they have no purpose at all. And I saw this guy using one at the bar the other day, and I was like, can I borrow that and put it on a beer, make some content with it? People were all in the comments like, but what if we want the hand on the bottle top? So we molded our beer bottle into the hand, and now we got little hands to cover your beer bottles, and they're really fun. That's our latest product. Honestly, I think we have literally every single thing for every drink.
Yeah.
No products in mind at the moment, but we just partnered with this app called Tassa. So they built an app. Essentially, that's a product, a service, and it's an anti-spiking app. So that's what they call it. And we're partnering with them to help them kind of market in the US. And the point of the app is to literally, if you get spiked, you can press a button and it'll alert your friends of where you are and where's the nearest hospital, where's, nearest resources and stuff. So that is essentially our newest thing, in partnership. And it's called Tassa Docked. So it's on the App Store, but yeah.
That's interesting. I never heard of that. That's another. I'm learning a lot here. I got a lot to tell my kids.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's unfortunate. I mean, I'm obviously a lot older, but I don't remember. Maybe just because social media didn't exist, so that's possible. I don't remember, and I also went to Penn State, so I went to a big school with a lot of parties. I don't remember it being a problem. I don't remember ever hearing about drinks getting spiked. I mean, you always had the thing, unfortunately, with, date rape and assault, and that, as bad as that is, obviously, but I never remember hearing about the drink thing so much. But now you hear about it so much more. So I wonder, just because of social media, is of all the bad things about social media, maybe the good thing here is the awareness of this is becoming, more out there.
For sure. It is. And I recently started this trend on social media going around putting candy in my friends' drinks. So,
it's brilliant.
I start the video being spiking my friends' drinks with candy or Swedish fish, gummy bears, whatever it is. And then I literally have all of these clips going around putting, tampering with my friends.
Yeah.
And they don't notice. Most of the time they literally have no idea. And so, I do it in ways where people wouldn't even imagine, going to say hello to a friend and boom, it's in your drink.
It's so funny. Yeah. So when I knew you were coming on, I was sitting with my daughter and some of her friends, and I brought up the product because I wanted to get their take on it.
Yeah.
And I said, do you think this is a problem? And like I said, they go to party schools, and some of the schools are schools that are actually on your website and stuff like that. And they said, to which I kind of rebutted it pretty quickly, well, I only have a friend give me my drink, meaning I'll never just have a random guy come up and give me a drink at a frat house, whatever. I said, okay, that's great. But hypothetically, you're holding a drink and having a conversation with me, and someone on the shoulder taps you behind you to say hello, and you just turn around and say hello for a second. You're not turning your entire body with your drink. You're turning your head, and now that's out of sight. It's not in your sight line anymore. And as you just proved with your videos, which I think that's a great idea, is you only need a second out of sight line for this to happen.
It takes a second. Yeah. And the craziest part that we've learned about the videos is that there are thousands of people commenting on our videos being like, it's actually like been done by a close friend or a family member. So the most common person to spike your drink is someone that you know. And that's
so even that friend who's bringing it to you, you still don't know.
You don't know. And like, there's people that are like, this happened to me at a house party with like 5 people there. And it's just crazy to think about because, we always preach, go out with people that you trust, but it's like, well, now what?
Right. I think the only thing you can trust, the only person at the end of the day you can trust is yourself. So yeah, you put that thing on and you don't have to worry about it. So again, just kudos to you, and all that kind of stuff. I think it's fantastic. Before we wrap up, kind of just tell us where we can find you, the website, all your social media platforms, because I know you're all over the place. So kind of just, I'll let you list it out for us.
Yeah, we're like kind of gaining a big following right now on Instagram from these videos. So go check us out there.
I'm gonna follow you as soon as we hang out.
Yeah, Instagram and TikTok, NightCap It. So NightCapit at the end. And then our website's nightcapit.com. And we're on Amazon as well. And
so you have like your own, so you just go to Amazon, type in NightCap It, and boom, all your products?
Like NightCap drink cover. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be there.
That's what I was going to say. Once you hit Amazon, for anyone to say they don't know how to get it, they just deserve a slap across the face, because I don't know one kid who does not have access to their parents or their own Amazon account. Yeah,
no, we're on there. We've got like, I think over 6,000 reviews. So make sure you get that one, because there's some sneaky fakes.
Are you finding some, just
a couple thousand.
Yeah. But I saw on the show, you had a patent pending. I think at the time you have all your patents are all secured at this point.
We have them, and we do not suggest copying us anytime soon.
Yeah. Good. Well, listen, Shirah, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. Super important things, besides hearing a little bit about the Shark Tank, just to hear about the product. I just think it's so fantastic. And, like I said, as a dad, I can't commend you enough for what you're doing. And, I wish you guys continued growth and success, in everything you do going forward.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Listen up, everyone. A pleasure. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On-Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. The views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.